Cutting 200 words at random can make a Chevening answer shorter and much weaker. Applicants often delete the decision, relationship contribution, module detail, or milestone that made the claim believable, while keeping an elegant introduction. This lesson uses a 5-pass editing method to protect evidence and remove low-value context, repetition, and decorative language. It is an editing framework, not application text to copy. Published Chevening guidance has described a reduction from 500 to 300 words for essay responses. However, the live application form controls the exact prompt, counter, and submission rules. Verify it when applications open. Plan for 300 words now, but do not rely on an old screenshot or third-party template. The goal is not to hit a number mechanically, it is to deliver the strongest relevant evidence within the confirmed limit. Print the draft or copy it into a private editor and label every sentence: context, action, evidence, reflection, or link. A sentence without a clear job is the first candidate for removal. When 3 sentences perform the same job, keep the most specific one. This method changes editing from a style preference into an evidence decision. The reviewer cannot award credit for words that do not help assess the answer. Protect the sentences that prove the assessment job. In leadership, preserve the personal decision, influence mechanism, and result. In relationship building, preserve reciprocity and shared outcome. In course choice, preserve the demonstrated gap and named learning. In career planning, preserve actions, partners, and indicators. These sentences may still be tightened, but do not remove them simply because the background is easier to cut around. Context should make the evidence understandable, not reproduce the organization's history or the applicant's job description. Usually the reader needs the role, the obstacle, and the consequence of inaction. Move quickly to what you decided or contributed. Replace a paragraph about a project with one sentence that identifies the setting and tension. If a detail does not change how the action is interpreted, it probably does not need the limited word budget. Definitions of leadership, quotations, broad passion statements, and generic praise of the UK rarely prove the applicant's case. Remove phrases such as, "I have always believed," "it is well known," "world-class education and communication is important," unless they introduce specific evidence. Replace adjectives with facts. Instead of calling a result significant, state what changed, for whom, and by how much. Precision usually uses fewer words and carries more credibility. Overlength drafts often repeat the same claim in the opening, middle, and conclusion. Keep the version closest to the evidence. Shorten repeated organization names after the first clear reference. Remove synonym chains such as led, managed, and coordinated when one accurate verb works. A conclusion should add reflection or forward connection. If it only restates the opening, the words can usually be reassigned to proof. Combine sentences when their logic is inseparable. I redesigned the consultation. I wanted partners to trust the process. Participation increased can become a tighter sentence that links the redesigned consultation, the trust problem, and the measured participation result. Do not compress so aggressively that attribution becomes misleading. The applicant's action, the team's contribution, and the result should remain distinct enough to defend in an interview. Consider composite notes about a reporting partnership. A 63-word version spends most of its space praising teamwork and explaining the program. A 32-word evidence version identifies clinic distrust, the applicant's redesign and feedback loop, partner testing, and sustained reporting. The shorter note is stronger because it preserves cause and result. It is not a finished sentence to copy. It only demonstrates what the editing decision should protect. Edit in 5 passes instead of trying to perfect every sentence at once. First, label each sentence's job. Second, mark the evidence that must survive. Third, compress context. Fourth, remove repetition within and across answers. Fifth, tighten verbs, nouns, and transitions. Count words only after each pass. This sequence prevents line editing from hiding a structural problem and makes it easier to explain why every retained sentence deserves space. At 300 words, count proof as well as words. Can a reviewer identify your contribution, outcome, and reflection or future link? Are names, dates, and numbers consistent with the other answers? Read the draft aloud at a measured pace. Awkward density often reveals that too many ideas remain. Move supporting details back to private notes rather than squeezing them into unreadable sentences. The answer should feel concise, not compressed beyond credibility. Use a local word counter or paper checklist to edit your own draft. Chevening prohibits AI-generated application answers, so do not ask a tool to rewrite the response for submission. A diagnostic counter can show length and missing evidence categories. It cannot decide what truly happened or supply your voice. Verify the live prompt and limit, preserve private applicant information, and submit only work you wrote yourself.